Well, I think we should, for the first and foremost is that we support and uphold the Constitution as a law of the land, and there is no law greater than that, right? We have inalienable rights given to us by God, and that we're going to look to the Constitution, and we don't ignore Article 2, Section 1, which says that our president must be natural-born citizen. And so I would like to see us just uphold our Constitution as the highest law in the land, and that we're not trying to, make a strong statement on that as a group, right? As a group of people, that freedom-loving people, and that are, recognize that our country was founded on the Constitution and the spirit of our founding fathers. And so I think that should be foremost, is that we recognize that the Constitution is the law of the land and is applied to everyone, and including our so-called usurper in charge. And then other things that may, again, I'm open, Marco, on the things that we can't, like I said, this is, we're in the beginning stages of planning this. So, I think having a strategy session on what our next moves are, and hearing from those who are on the leading edge, and what we should do next, spiritual and, in the world that we live in the context of, the world that we find ourselves. What are our next steps as a group to further this issue and to help get attention and educate people? We need educational discussions about this, and I think a lot of this, that people jump to the conclusions too fast, right? They hear somebody talking bad about Obama, and they jump the gun way too fast in thinking what their motives are, and they need to let's continue the conversation a little further, because the guy that's speaking about the eligibility of Obama may not be a Grand Dragon KKK wizard. He may actually be a freedom-loving individual that just loves the Constitution, and so people jump the gun way too fast, and they shut it down before there's a fully educational education on the issue. And so we need some educational discussions, a strategy session. I love the fact and declaration of dependence on the Constitution, and I'm open to other ideas too.
No, it sounds exciting. Now, we also talked about doing some symposiums of one type or another, because you're inviting the public, correct?
Yes, sir. Everyone is welcome. There will be a small nominal fee just to cover the food. Nobody's trying to make any money off this. But it is open to the public, and I'll tell you, since this, I made the video last night. Again, it's on my YouTube channel, Lone Star 1776. The phone's been ringing off the wall all morning. We had somebody from Germany call us, and my wife answered the phone, and she said that he had a thick German accent and wanted to talk about this, and I'm like, wow, that's great. But so we've also had people in the Dallas area from various Tea Parties. We've had people in the Dallas area. From ladies groups, it's like I'm shocked. It's like, wow, this is great. Let's have a gathering of people that are willing to stand up for the truth, and and let's figure out what we should do next, and let's strategize. And so the analogy that I would give, Marco, is like, you drive across the country at night and your headlights only go 6 feet in front of your car, and you just trust that you're going to make it across the country. You can't see the whole country with one headlight, but you will eventually make it across. And so I don't see exactly the full extent of where this is going, but this is God's get-together. Don't think of this as Pastor Manning's get-together or Pastor Stefan Broden's get-together, or, it's also sponsored by Terry Lakin Action Fund. Don't think of it as any one person's. This is God's get-together of righteous people specifically. If you're not a Christian, you're still invited, but we're going to talk to you about God when you're there, and you better be prepared to listen to a little bit of biblical references, because it's been my experience that people that want to stand up for the truth are overwhelmingly Christian, and that's what I found to be the case in this movement.
That's excellent. So we hope to. Now, you've already gotten, how many calls did you say you've gotten so far?
I would say at least 12, and that's just this morning, right? And then the video was uploaded like almost at midnight last night. So there was one guy who said that he's very well connected. He mentioned I don't even know some of these people, Marco, but the Joyce Riley with thepowerhour.com, he said that he has connections with them. There was people that had Tea Party groups that had called in, and so it's like, I've got to. I'm just one guy, but I'm going to depend, upon God, and there's others that are helping. But I'm trying to make this list, and once I have the list together, then we're going to start, figuring out what it's going to take, and how this thing will actually look, and we'll include. We want to make sure that we have something that is beneficial, right? And we're going to have a gathering of the brethren, and we will make an impact. We will make a statement, and we will have educational strategy sessions about what should we do as a people, and that's not going to put up with this nonsense. And I don't know exactly all of the details yet, but we will make this count. And like I said, Terry Lakin has put his life and his fortune on the line, and we need to do the same. I know that it's that we some people may say, well, we all can't be Terry Lakins. Well, we all need to be Terry Lakins. We've got to put our life and our fortune on the line. If we don't, we ain't going to have either. We cannot sit by and let ourselves be run over. And I don't mean to get too biblical on you guys, but Job said, though he may slay me, right, I will trust in the Lord. And so that may sound a little dramatic, but it's true. No matter what may come, we've got to trust in the Lord, and we've got to try to figure out a way to turn this thing around. And we cannot put up for this nonsense. And we got to be willing. It may sound a little dramatic, but we got to be willing to die. And I don't know if the Lord has that in His plans, but we got to be willing to put skin in the game. This thing is too important, and we got to come together as a people. So we're not going to put up with this nonsense.
Definitely. So the important thing, though, is May 24th in Dallas, right? And so if you haven't been in Dallas, it's a great city, and it's easy to get around, and there's lots of great hotels there. It's just one day. Tell us a little about the church itself, because this is where you go to church, right?
Yes, sir. It's Fair Park Bible Fellowship. It has a very righteous congregation, and Pastor Stefan Broden is very outspoken in the pro-life movement, and he says the truth, and he doesn't back down. And what my wife and I kind of we kind of choke to ourselves from time to time. Every Sunday, it's like going to, an Elvis Presley concert and listening to Elvis Presley sing, because that's how good he is. I mean, he will preach the hair off your back, and it's so good, and yet it's like it's like he hasn't been discovered yet. So I got nothing but positive things to say about Pastor Stefan Broden, and I'm very grateful that he's given us our church. And I don't know how much time we got, Marco, but I just realized I haven't told the story about, the employee relations contacting me, and I think that's important because it shows the kind of times that we live in. Do we have time to mention?
Yeah, we've got another 5 minutes or so in this segment, and I think it's a great story, particularly. Who would have known? Yeah. So tell us what happened.
Okay, well, thank you, Marco. So this is an important story, and if people they wouldn't believe me, but I've got it on tape, and I'm going to just tell it, and I hope that you will trust me because it's true. But Pastor James Stephen Manning a week and a half ago made this video, and he said, "Rudy Davis, bring us together," and he put my name out there, and he didn't contact me first, but that's fine because I love the man, and I'm in this all the way. We got to be willing to die. I can't be lukewarm, and that applies to me. So about a week after Pastor James Stephen Manning releases that video, I get a call from my employee relations director, female representative in my area, and she contacts me, and she says, and again, this sounds crazy, but I'm telling you guys the truth. She said that the government is performing a random audit on my employer, and that I have been identified as a person of interest, and a form I filled out in 1997 was identified as being filled out incorrectly, and that they would like for me to provide my birth certificate to prove that I am an American citizen, and that she's already had to fire a couple of people who were not American citizens. And I'm like, what are the odds, right, that Pastor James Stephen Manning identifies my name, and then a company that I've been employed with for over 15 years all of a sudden is concerned that I am an American citizen? I mean, at first I thought it was a joke, right? But I called her back, and it's absolutely the truth. And so I'm thinking about, in this requirement and this request that they've asked of me, I'm thinking about taking my long form, because I did write off to the Texas Vital Records, and I got my long form. I'm born in Baylor Hospital in Dallas, Texas, and I have my short form and my long form, and I'm thinking about busting my long form up into multiple layers, putting a little smiley face on the stamp, running it through optical character recognition to white out all the stuff, and then uploading it to a link on a website and saying, there you go, there's my long form. That's the standard that our president set for everybody, so I'm sure you'll accept it from me as well. But look, I don't say this from when I tell you guys that story, I don't say it from a perspective of fear or nervousness. I trust in the Lord, and I say that, I mean that with all my heart. And so because I trust in the Lord, and because I know that I couldn't take another breath if it wasn't for Jesus Christ and it wasn't for my trust in the Lord, then I would maybe be nervous that I know that there's government agents that are trying to target me because I'm associated with with a movement that the government may not like. But look, we cannot have that attitude, and I don't come from a spirit of fear, and I don't come from a spirit of confusion. This thing is not complicated, and these people don't know. I would say that if the government agents are listening, I hope you learn something. I hope you learn something about what's going on, and maybe you'll get educated about what's going on, and we can stand up and rectify what's going on in our country. David Lansford is a mayor in Clovis, New Mexico, just real quickly, who recently won a mayor's race, and he was the lead jury foreman of Pastor James David Manning's trial, and they tried to come against him and badmouth his during the election cycle and say that he was associated with the birther movement, but he won in a landslide. If the people stand up, we can turn this thing around, and that's what we need to happen.
Interesting. So this will be fascinating. Hopefully we'll have some. Now, you have how many people on your list so far already?
I would say it's approaching 60, 65 at the moment.
And what type of responses have you gotten? Any positive ones?
Well, all the ones that called this morning are extremely positive, and we got people volunteering to help out, and I know Pastor Manning is committed. I know Pastor Stefan Broden is committed, and we've heard interest from Sheriff Mack. Somebody reached out to Sheriff Mack. They said, "Hey, I'll call Sheriff Mack for you." And somebody said, and he sounded very positive about it. And then we've had this Joyce Riley with thepowerhour.com that somebody said they know that radio show and they'll help us get contact with them. So again, we're in the very beginning stages. I'm not. I just trust in the Lord, and I don't know how popular this thing will get, but it's not a popularity contest. This is not about a popularity number. This is about the truth, and Gideon's army didn't need a lot of people. Now, if God chooses to make it a big event with lots of people, all the glory goes to him. If he chooses to make it a small, dedicated group of dedicated individuals who are willing to do what it takes to turn this country around, that's good too. Either way, all the glory goes to the Lord, and we're going to get together as the righteous men and women of God and make a statement and educate ourselves and educate others that will listen and invite the local press if they want to come. But we're going to do it in the daylight. We ain't going to have no secrets, hidden behind closed doors like the current administration does and hiding their records and hiding all their decision making. Everything's going to be done in the open. There'll be cameras everywhere and nobody's hiding,
Yeah, that is, we'll come back to that in a second, but that whole mystery, science fiction mystery theater here with Obama, I mean, literally, today, to this day, people know nothing about him. And, of course, they just launched that video. Did you see his video, Rudy? It's on YouTube. It's their 17-minute, it's called The Road We've Traveled, The Road You've Traveled. And it's just this huge promo for Obama. And, of course, they ignore all the negative stuff, totally, of course. Yep. Tom Hanks narrates it. It's huge. It's like, $1 million production. But I guess I heard on Fox today that donations are down. The Obama campaign is spending more than it's taking in. So who knows?
I hope the American people are waking up to the deception that is called Obama. You guys, Marco, do you remember a plug they did? I can't remember the guy's name, but it was a famous actor and actress at the end, and they said, "We pledge to be a servant to all mankind and our president." I forget the names of those two individuals, but I'll never forget that crazy promo ad for Obama where they said, "We pledge to be a servant to our president." It's like, what is going on with these Hollywood actors? I mean, they must live in a twilight zone.
We're going to have to...
Well, you do have some that are kind of rational. I think we need to go to our break, and we'll come back and close it off here. So, David, you ready?
This is Steve Ellis, calling all young voters who care about the future and their children's future to listen to my show every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. only on americaswebradio.com.
I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God. This is the oath that Terry Lakin took when he was commissioned as Lieutenant Colonel. It is the same oath taken by every federal official, yet we cannot find one person beyond Terry Lakin who has taken this oath seriously when it comes to the issue of eligibility. Terry's book, Officer's Oath, explains why he chose to sacrifice his career and accept a court-martial and prison rather than violate his oath. This is a story you must read. Please visit officersoath.com today and pre-order the book now. That's officersoath.com.